7.5. Change that in, we'll do 7.5, comes default to 30. I'll leave the leak compensation off. I'm gonna be utilizing HME. I'm gonna turn the active humidification off. I can dial in a patient weight if I like. I'll arbitrarily pull 55 kilograms what the patient weighs. Doesn't have a certain compliance yet because I've not done the EST. So I'm gonna hit the EST button. It'll tell me to block the patient's, or block the Y. Do that with a gloved hand. Now, if you've got your HME and stuff in line, if everything's not tight, it may not pass its leak test. If not, you can take this out and test it without it, because if it passes with this off, then you know the leak or the bad connection right here. So it's failed, so let's do that. And this could be a bad circuit altogether, we'll see. And that failed.
Those feel, how does that affect us on our time?
As long as you're doing the appropriate corrective action, you'll be all right. Yeah, I'm gonna cancel that right quick. Start it again, just to see if I get it to pass with HME and the Ballard on this time. Because technically it should be tested with HME and Ballard in line. So now that's ready to rock and roll. It's gonna finish the next 70 seconds. I had a set of settings I was gonna utilize for my position order. Alright, I'll wait till it's done. So 46 seconds. If this were the mode I was gonna be in, I could go ahead and change this down here while it's setting up, but that's not the mode that I'll be in here. I've gotta be in assist control, pressure control per my position order set right here. I likely will, on the day that I'm gonna use a test lung, but I likely will have you, mannequin intubated with an endotracheal tube, and you'll connect to that. But I'm gonna use a test lung because I didn't wanna bring all that stuff over here. Hit setup accept button. Now I'm gonna go up here to modes, I'll find what I want. I'm in assist control, pressure control, and I'm gonna go ahead and accept that mode. I want a rate of 10. Inspiratory pressure of 18, let's dial that in. Inspiratory time of 1 second, it defaults there. Note this is a touch turn and touch to accept whatever you want, so you gotta make sure that you're going back and touching, because if I turn that to 1.5 and I want it to be 1.05 and I go to the next thing, it'll default back to 1 second, so it doesn't. So you gotta touch turn, touch to accept, or you can touch turn and actually hit the accept button and it'll hold. But I just get in the habit of touch turn and touch to do what I need to. PEEP of, gonna go with a PEEP of 8. F flow trigger, I will set that at 3. And an FiO2 at 21%. So good to go there. Now what I'm gonna do is make sure that that matches what I'm supposed to be in. It is what I'm supposed to be in, so now it is now what I'm supposed to be in. So now I'll go ahead and attach my patient. Let it have a few minutes to kind of get some breaths. And go ahead and go to my alarm limits while it's catching up, because there's some I know I can set right off the bat. I know my apnea interval is gonna be 20. I know my peep, I can go ahead and set high peep and a low, well, on this one I can set a low peep, so it'd be 2, so I can set that at 6. Respiratory rate, I'll go ahead and set at 35. And then my peak pressure is 25, set that at 35. Low, so that my low pressure would be 5, let's set 15. Minute ventilation, he's still catching up, so if I set it right now, it's gonna change, so I'll wait until he's got a few breaths in, or she, doesn't have to be a he. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. Minute ventilation right now, 2.3. Hopefully on the day of, yours will be higher, but I'll do 2.3, 2.4, I'll use it. So my minute ventilation, I make sure that you're touching the right one here for minute ventilation. So if I go 30% above that, 30% below that, I'm essentially gonna go 0.6 above, 0.6 below, so I'll set it at 3 for my high limit. And I can do, I can't do half numbers, so I'll leave it at 1 for the low limit. So that'll be fine there. My tidal volume was 2 something. 20, so same thing, so I'm gonna set this at 300. Or 0.3. And I'll set this at 0.15. My alarm limits are set, my apnea interval's good to go, my alarms are set, settings are in. That's done. Now I'm ready to do the ventilator patient assessment. I use a pencil so we can erase it off after we get done. So the date is 7/13. Put that here. Time 12:40. Endotracheal tube, we'll say it's a 7.5, and we are 23 ATL at the lip. Humidification is going to be an HME. Head of bed, yeah, it's at 30, so I'll check it. Mode is assist control, pressure control, AC, PC. Respiratory rate set is 10, total is 10. So I'm gonna do 10 and 10 there. Tidal volume, it's not set. I'm gonna put a dash through the tidal volume because it's not set, but I do have an XL tidal volume, which is 240. Milliliters. Then my inspiratory pressure is 18. Inspiratory time is 1.0 second. The eye time measured, you can go to your screens monitors and see, you could change that to your eye time if you wanted to. It's measured at 1 second there already for me, so I don't have to change anything. Rise, we don't have that here marked through it. I to E, my set I to E ratio is 1:5. Pressure support, it's assist control. I don't have pressure support, I'm gonna put a line through it. My PEEP is 8. FiO2 0.21. Sensitivity is, you can do the V with the dot over it for flow and then put 3 liters, or you can just write 3 liters if you wanted to. Peak flow, don't have it. Minute ventilation, now I go to all my measured parameters. I can go back to that screen and look here, or I can go to the screens tab, go to monitors, and from this screen I can get everything that I need. You might have to change some stuff, but I can get everything that I need ultimately. I'll follow off this until I need something else. Minute ventilation, 2.4 liters per minute. PIP is 25. My plateau pressure, so let me go to screens, monitors, change this to,
It's right there.
is it already up here?
Yeah, it's on the top right left.
Okay, and I won't have to change that there. Inspiratory hold. Let it go, it should show up right there. Should. Next breath it will, 16. Uh-oh, didn't like that. 16, MAP, mean airway pressure. make sure it's not here, size 11. Your static compliance, now you can calculate that if you want, but if the machine does it for you already, if you're gonna write down your static compliance, it's 32. Auto peep, so we look at peep, we got auto peep right there, let's do an X-ray hold. And it does not detect any auto peep. Let's make sure we have a peep total. Nope, auto. So 0 for auto. RSBI FVT, ain't calculating it right now. Cuff pressure, I'm gonna put MOV for minimal occlusion volume. If you actually wanna check the cuff pressure, you can do that. You can write down 24, 25, whatever it ends up being. Next section of this is bi-level APRV. He's not in bi-level APRV. One line through everything. My alarms. My high pressure alarm is 35, write it down. High minute volume alarm is 3. Low minute volume alarm is 1. Then comes the assessment piece, breath sounds, they are clear. So I'll just write clear. Or if they got Ronchi, you can write Ronchi down. Sputum color, when I suction them, it was clear. Small amount, heart rate, 85. I will have something written, like a piece of paper at the bedside to give you that information so you don't have to just come up with it. Blood pressure will go 120 over 80, nice and healthy. Why are they intubated, mechanically ventilated? Nib, MDI given, we're not doing that day, put a line through it. ABGs, the rest of that, you don't have to worry about that because putting a line through it. Then you go to the back side of this sheet. Chest x-ray, did you check the chest x-ray? Yes, you did, because you should on all of your intubated mechanical, so you put your initials there rather. Chart, did you check the chart? You should, yes, DDW there. Bag valve mask, should be a bag and mask at the head of the bed. If there's not one here, I'll go get one. After I get one, I can write down that I did it. In the room where you're gonna be checking off at, there will be a bag and mask there, so initials go there. If it's a trach patient, there should be a spare trach at the head of the bed, but this isn't a trach patient, so you can just put a line through there. Vent number, in the hospital, they have the ventilators numbered. We'll just, for grins and giggles, call this one 17, because those are the last 2 digits there. Alarm volume always needs to be 100%. And this one is 100%, so we'll leave it there. And then with my note, if I were to write down anything that was pertinent to this, so I've already documented heart rate, respiratory rate, so I've really tried to simplify that for you with this sheet. If I did anything pertinent, so let's say I did oral care, so I would write down the date, today's 7/13, and it's at, this check was what, 12/20? 12/40. At 12/40, oral care performed, ETT moved to center of mouth, and you can also write down ETT secure. I mean, you've already documented that on the front, but it doesn't matter to do that again. And if there was anything else you did, if you changed an HME, if you changed the circuit, if you dumped water out of the circuit, you can write that down. Put your initials after. At the bottom, there's a few things to check here, but this is gonna be for like a shift, a wean screen. We're not doing that, we're just doing the vent check. So you come down here and you sign your name. Put your student credentials after it. Breath sounds, it gives you a legend. So for instance, on the front, if you wanted to write clear, I'm okay with, like this legend is specific to Forsyth, so I'm okay with you writing out clear, Ronchi, RH for Ronchi or what have you. You see what I'm saying? But that's it.